Very good afternoon and welcome to Racing International. We head out to the Vale today, a comfortable hour's drive from Johannesburg, and we're racing on the inside track, which is called the New Classic Track. Let's have a go and have a look. Well, it's just come through as I'm sitting here. The penetrometer is 20 and the false rail's out 4.5 metres. That'll certainly give the horse a chance running on. You've got a long run in on the straight, so very nice track this one, and in top class condition. Draws are pretty important. We're not up the straight yet. We've only had a couple of meetings there. We're still trying to work out which is the best draws to go there, but certainly around the top turn helps to have middle to inside draws. All right, race one on the card is for the work riders, and the guys are certainly very competitive. Maiden plate, fillies and mares, and it's over the 1,600 metres. Leaning towards number 3, Chinese Whisper. Now, it's firm in the market. It's certainly well overdue to come out. The maiden's been battling along. It ran in the work riders last time and ran second over the 1,600 metres, only beaten 2 lengths, but there haven't been any winners coming out of the last 3 form lines, but it is drawn nicely in barrier 1. There's going to be plenty of dangers in the race, and certainly number 1, Pride of Barbados. That might be there. A chap called 18. I don't know this guy. He must be a new work rider. It's drawn nicely in barrier 4. Now, it hasn't been fancied in its last few starts, but this is not the strongest of races. Actually stayed on quite nicely over the 1450 last time when only going down just under 4 lengths. I've thrown in number 10, Mating Call, who's lightly raced from the Sinjin Grey stable. No, Mabea jumps aboard. Now, he's not a bad work rider, this guy. He's got a bit of a reputation. He's all right, drawn nicely in barrier 3. Hasn't shown too much so far, but comes back up to the 1,600 metres. Also popped in 5, Jackie's Boy. Certainly ignore its last run. Much better than that. If you go back through its previous form, certainly should be competitive here. That one's priced up at the moment at 5-1. Number 2, race 2's juvenile plate. This one's over the 1,600 metres. All right, number 3, Hideaway, the Australian bred. Looks the right one. Gee, it was impressive on debut. They popped it out over the 1,400 metres and won very comfortably indeed by 4 1/4 lengths. Certainly, a lot of people sat up and took notice of this horse. Certainly one to keep an eye on. Drawn nicely in barrier 2. Steps up to the 1,600 metres today. Navarro, this one's 28-10, also firm in the market with J.P. van der Merwe. He rode it last time, and it was a good win. Got up there, well timed to win by about a long head on that occasion, but I think there'll be more improvement to come. Now, it's a 2-year-old son of Silvano. They will certainly be appreciating the extra trip today. Number 1, Bold Rex, Mowing jumps aboard. Gee, he's riding in good form at the moment, and this one's also drawn nicely in barrier 3. Now, the Mike de Kock stable has been racing this, but down in KZN against weaker company. It certainly won very impressively on debut. Then they gave it a spell and brought it out next time and probably needed that run under the belt, but went off favourite on both occasions. Number 5, A Greater Power, Sean Tarry. Now, this one's certainly been knocking on the door and wouldn't be a surprise winner here. It's been well supported in its couple of outings so far, going off favourite on all occasions. In fact, was a beaten 4-10 odds-on favourite 2 starts ago when running third. A little disappointing, but certainly showed nice improvement last time out. Race 3 on the card is over the 1,200 metres. Now, this is around the turn. It's not up the straight, so draws are pretty important here. It's another maiden plate, and we're leaning towards number 11, Arabian Sea, who's drawn nicely in barrier 4 with Gunter Roggeman aboard. Now, it's making its local debut. Nicely bred individual from the Lucky Hudalaka stable. Now, there's been money for it, very firm. It's your favourite at the moment, so got to respect it in not the strongest of fields. Well, number 2, also Chosen L. Now, Lucas Bester, he's ridden this, he's ridden it 4 of its last 7 or 8 starts. He's been there and thereabouts, and I'm going to throw this one in here. I think in a moderate field like this, can certainly run a drum. What about number 12? I popped that in as well. This one's from the Sinjin Grey stable. Now, it showed improvement last time, and the comment from the stable, expecting a nice run today from a decent draw in barrier 2, and could be the value here at 14-1. In another, like I said, in an open race, certainly number 8 is worth throwing in, has only had the 1 run under the belt. Now, last time out, it was in a work riders. Now they've got Andrew Fortune aboard, but he's drawn a bit wide in barrier 10. We'll need a little bit of luck from there. Race 4 on the card is also around the turn 1,200 metres. Maiden plate, fillies and mares. And number 10, Freely Forever. Well, it's had 2 good runs so far, and I think it'll go pretty close here. It is second run back after rest. Certainly stripped a lot fitter today. JP van der Merwe, he jumps aboard. He rode it on debut, and it's cracked a decent draw in barrier 2. Now, there's a bit of talk about number 13, Queen Anne from the Paul Peters stable. They only had the 1 run. That was over the 1,400 metres. Showed plenty of early gate speed. Was always up there on the pace and just faded out. Will improve with the experience under the belt, and they've brought it back to the 1,200. Gets top apprentice aboard, Lyle Ewertson, who claims 2.5 off the back. Certainly brings it in with a decent weight now of 50. Actually, only claims 1.5 now. He lost the 2.5 claim, so now brings it in with 55.5. All right, number 11 also, Heaven's Door from the Paul Peters stable. Here's the comment from Paul. He said, if it doesn't race too green, he thinks you'll be right there. So there you go, got a claim of 2.5 off the back, only carries 54.5, and I think it's worth including here. If it has a little bit of luck in running and doesn't race too green, it's currently priced up at 14-1. All right, we're looking for one more for you, and number 5, Lively Debate. The blinkers go on today, and here's a comment. They're hoping the blinkers will do the trick today, will improve, even though it's drawn wide, and another bit of an outsider here at 22-1. Race 5 on the card is a merit-rated 68 handicap over the 1,200 metres around the top turn again, and drawn nicely in barrier 4 is number 1, Hidden Agenda with Mowing aboard. Now, this is lightly raced. It's been well supported in its last 2 outings. Won a good race over the 1,200 2 starts ago. Then they tried it over the 14, moved up to win that race and didn't quite go on with it. So I think they've done the right thing back to the 1,200 metres. I've also put in 2, and we've tipped this a few times. It won well for us 2 starts ago, and I thought it wasn't disgraced last time when there was a bit of outside money for it. I thought it was a good run straight out the maidens, but it is drawn a wee bit wide in barrier 14. Number 9, Movie Man, Samunga Kamala, always got to respect when he jumps aboard. Now, this horse is having its 3rd run back after a bit of rest. 2 runs back have been decent, hasn't been finishing too far behind, and certainly don't leave this out. It certainly should fight out the finish. What about number 4? Is that worth throwing in? Well, I reckon it is. Drawn nicely in barrier 2, needed its last run under the belt, and I think it'll strip a lot fitter today. Currently priced up at 9-1, and they've brought it back to the 1,200 metres. Here we go, race 6 on the card. It's a merit-rated 80 handicap. Over the 1,450 metres, and Miracle Bureau, Striker Stratum. I would have liked him to be drawn a little bit closer to the rail. He's drawn out 9. He won 2 in a row. He won his maiden and then come out straight out the maidens and won very comfortably by 1.25 lengths. Then I thought, oh, maybe the handicap has caught up with him. Well, wasn't I wrong? He ran an absolute cracker last time, running into second, only beaten 1/2 length, just has to overcome that slightly wider straw. But a decent each-way price here at 4-1. Now, I actually would have tipped this one to win it. Mr. Mulliner, he is coming off a break of 63 days. The stable comment from Gary Alexander is they're quietly confident today, but he is drawn out pretty wide. So my 2 in barrier 12. The top 2 selections need a bit of luck, and I think these 2 should fight it out. Then I bumped into a couple of guys here at the studio, and they said, hey, what about number 3, Cumberland? He's on a roll. He won well last time at big odds at 30-1. Now, he's only picked up a 1 kilo penalty for that, but he gets a good draw in barrier 2. All right, if you need another one for the trifectas, Ara Mouse. I remember we tipped this last time, and it wasn't disgraced there. Only beaten just under 3 lengths. It was a good run straight out the maidens in a merit-rated 77 handicap, but also a little bit unfortunate with that wide draw in barrier 11. Race 7 on the card is a Fillies and Mares 84 handicap over the 2,000 metres. Now, I'm going against all the trends here. Everyone says, no, this horse can't win, but I'm going to go with it. I reckon it's a bit of each-way value at 9-2. Number 2, Kissimmee, coming back to the handicap. It's been running in features in its last 3 or 4 outings. I reckon it's a little bit of each-way value, and I'm going to put my neck down here. Everyone said to me, number 3, Run Along, could be the right one with Lyle Ewertson because he claims that 1.5 off the back now and brings it in with 54.5. It's on a roll. It's won very comfortably in its last 2 outings. And the Paul Peters stable is saying she's a very smart filly and thinks she'll go very close here. Number 4, American Story, also not without a chance. Had a run on the Oaks last time and wasn't disgraced when going at 66-1. Was only beaten 5 3/4. Now comes back to a handicap today. What about number 9? I'm also putting this in from the Sinjin Grey stable. His stable's going pretty well at the moment, and this horse has certainly done nothing wrong. Look, it is jumping up in class. It's been running in 64 and 70 handicaps. Now jumps up to an 84, so takes on a lot tougher horses here, but also gets the light weight of 52 kilos. Race 8 on the card is the maiden plate, and we're travelling over the 2,000 metres. Number 2, Scott's Pine. I like this one. Drawn nicely in barrier 2. Chase Majan jumps aboard. Now, it's been had its first run over the 2,000 last time when only having its third career start, and I thought it stayed on pretty well. So I don't think there's any doubts about the trip, and I think it'll certainly fight out the finish. Well, number 1 as well, when you got Striker Stratum aboard, geez, a good rider, this bloke, and this is currently priced up at 12 to 10. Pretty short in the market. There's a form update here from the other day on the 29th of May. Ran third, only beaten 2 1/4 lengths when going off at 10 to 1, and it's certainly holding form well at the moment. Trifecta time, and number 10, Island Bliss. Young Callum Murray jumps aboard. He doesn't claim anymore, but it is having its third run back for rest and drawn nicely in barrier 3. Should be cherry ripe today, and I think you'll get a good run for your money. If you want another one, throw in number 4, the Australian bred with Andrew Fortune aboard for the Lucky Hoodalaka's stable. Now, it's quite firm in the market. I think ignore that last run. Nothing went right in the race for it. Its previous form, pretty steady, and when you've got Andrew Fortune aboard, you'll get a decent run for your money. Here we go with race 9 on the card. The lucky last, it's over the 2,000 metres. All right, this one's a low-rated fillies and mares 65 handicap. They're always pretty tough, but I reckon we got the right horse here. Matsuri, number 1 from the Gary Alexander stable, and Andrew Fortune, I think will go pretty close here. I think there's only 2 horses in the race. If there is a danger, well, I think number 10 with Striker Stratum should be it, but it is drawn out a bit wide in 15. Although over the 2,000 metres, you've got plenty of time to find a decent space down the back straight. Holding form, it's been placing in its last 3 outings. Also popped in number 8 here, Pego My Heart, and this has got Lyle Hewitson. This kid really can ride, and I think this might help the trifecta's pay. Priced up at 14 to 1. He takes the valuable 1.5 kilos off the back, but it just misses the start all the time. I'm just hoping they can bounce it away on terms, settled at midfield, and will certainly be running on strongly. Need one more? We'll throw in the 9 as well with Francie Herald. It is having its second run back of arrest. It's had 3 runs over this trip and placed on 1 occasion, but does get a decent draw in barrier 2. All right, that is a very, very competitive card. You can see by way we're tipping today, we've gone with quite a few each-way value bets at very open indeed. We're going to be popping up our selections at our Twitter account at Racing in Tips. From myself, Rod McCurdy, and all the team, we certainly wish you a very successful punting afternoon.